Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where in the world you are tuned into. We are on day 45 of Devotional Time for Mindset. Let me put the mic in front of me so y'all can actually hear me. That might be good. And turn on some light in this place. Hello, everyone. Welcome to day 45 of our 100-day journey of devotional time for mindset. We are here to learn all the different ways that we can protect our mind because the enemy is going to come at us because he understands how powerful our minds are. So we're here to support and encourage one another as we go on our spiritual walk and grow in our faith. Okay. So welcome to devotional time for mindset. If you are here, comment live in the comments and let me know where in the world you are tuned in from. And if you're catching the replay later on because maybe it's your bedtime or you are just getting started with your workday, then comment replay and still let me know where you're tuned in from. All right. I see a lot of faces here, a lot of new faces, a lot of returning faces. Hey, Savvy Planning Chick. Hey, Shabai and Brooke and Bree and Mary and Wandam and Hazwan, Stephanie, Brittany, Melanie, Denise, Jabri, Angelica, Timothy, Alawas, Katasha is back. Hey, Rob. Hey, Illicombe. Aunt Fran is tuned in live from Chicago. Sister Tabitha is tuned in live from Indiana. Good to see everyone. Let me know if it's your first time tuning in to Devotional Time for Mindset as well. Katasha is tuning in live from Maryland. Good to see you. Hey, Paris. Hey, Mia. Hey, Lana. Okay, guys, listen, if you are new here, allow me to explain how this works and who I am, and then we're going to get started, okay? So this is Devotional Time for Mindset, and as I mentioned, we are on a 100-day journey. So we are here every day, same time, same place, and today is day 45. And this devotional is guided by the book Battlefield of the Mind Devotional by Joyce Meyer. And if you want to follow along in the reading as we go through our 100 days, then you can download a free copy of the book at mindsetmastersuite.com. You can also submit a prayer request at mindsetmastersuite.com. Once we get into our discussion, you can join me live in the discussion at mindsetmastersuite.com. So that is your one-stop shop for all things devotional time for mindset. If you want to look at the other platforms that we're streaming on, because maybe you don't want to do audio, you want to catch the video, or maybe you want to see the graphics on the screen, mindsetmastersuite.com has all the links for everything you need. Hey, Frank, good to see you back again. Hey, Amanda. Hey, Jamie. Okay, now that we've gotten that out of the way, my name is Lindsay Vertner. I'm a mindset expert, speaker, and actress. And what I do is I work with high-achieving leaders to prioritize self without guilt, specifically in the areas that I call the 3 pillars of self: self-care, self-worth, and self-discipline, because those 3 pillars are subconsciously attracted to everything that we do. They impact every single thing that we do in our lives, okay? It is a part of my purpose here on this earth to help each and every one of you to create what I call a first-class life, which is a life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness. So that's a little bit more about me, but Devotional Time for Mindset is all about us. Now, if you are new here, please know that this is a safe space. Sometimes we get real and raw and vulnerable. This is a hashtag no judgment zone, all right? So, and we like to have fun, okay? Yeah, we gonna learn some things. We might get our feelings hurt in the name of the Lord just a little bit because sometimes correction is needed, but we like to have fun here on Devotional Time for Mindset. So with that said, let's get into today's devotional. Hey, Veltra, hey, her, hey, talking out loud. Good to see you. User 8713, good to see you back. Okay, guys, let's get into it. Make sure that you are sharing this live stream out because you never know who needs the message. And please leave your comments, questions, insights, and aha moments down in the comment section, okay? And one last thing, we are streaming live across 8 different platforms around the world. So I do my best to catch every comment and definitely every question that I possibly can. But sometimes I might miss one. If it happens to be you, please don't take it personal, okay? Okay, I'm sorry. Let's see. Mama Nat says, hey, family, and happy Valentine's Day. Tuning in live from Indiana. You are right. Happy Valentine's Day, family. I completely forgot. My bad. For some of you, it is still Valentine's Day. For some of you, that was yesterday. So let's get into day 45. Today's topic is a confused mind. Okay, a confused mind. For those of you that are new here, every day I read directly from the book. I read the day's devotional, and then we start our discussion. So let's get started. The opening scripture reads, "If any of you is deficient in wisdom, let him ask of the giving God, who gives to everyone liberally and ungrudgingly, without reproaching or fault finding, and it will be given him. Only it must be in faith that he asks, with no wavering, no hesitating, and no doubting. For the one who wavers, hesitates, and doubts is like the billowing surge out at sea that is blown hither and thither and tossed by the wind. For truly, let not such a person imagine that he will receive anything he asks for from the Lord. For being as he is a man of two minds, hesitating, dubious, and irresolute, he is unstable and unreliable and uncertain about everything he thinks, feels, and decides." That's from James chapter 1, verses 5 through 8. The devotional reads, "My friend Eva received a summons for jury duty in a robbery trial. For 2 days, 12 citizens listened to the prosecuting attorney as he presented evidence to indicate that the accused had broken into a home and stolen many items. Eva was ready to convict him. On the third day, the defense attorney presented the other side of the picture. The more Eva listened, the more confused she became. What had seemed very obvious at first now seemed ambiguous and contradictory. Although the jury did convict the man, Eva said she struggled over making the right decision. Each attorney, when he was speaking, had seemed to be the most convincing. Many Christians live much the same way day to day. They have become what James calls double-minded. They're sure of one thing until something else happens, and then they flip-flop to the opposite opinion. In their double-mindedness, they flit from one opinion to the other. They're sure they know what to do, and then they switch again. The moment they feel sure they have made the decision they plan to stick with, they begin to wonder if it was the correct one. They continually doubt and question their reasoning. This kind of behavior is not the same as being open-minded. To be open-minded means we're willing to hear all sides of an issue, like jurors should be at a trial. But eventually, we have to sort through the evidence or the circumstances in life and say, this is what I'm going to do. That sounds good, but too many people have trouble being decisive. What if I make a mistake, they ask? What if I choose the wrong thing? Those are legitimate questions, but they are not meant to paralyze God's people and prevent them from acting. Too often, these are tools that Satan uses to distract and prevent Christians from taking action. I'm an expert on this. For many years, I was that double-minded person James wrote about. I didn't like being that way. It took so much energy to keep rethinking the same problems. But I was so afraid of making a mistake that I didn't know how to make good decisions. It took a long time before I realized that the devil had declared war against me and that my mind was his personal battlefield. At that moment of awareness, I felt totally confused about everything and I didn't understand why. So many of God's people are living exactly where I was then. They're reasonable people. That is, they have the ability to figure out causes and relationships and reasons. They sincerely try to understand all the implications of a situation and then find the most sensible or logical solution by putting their reasoning ability to work. Too often, this is where Satan sneaks in and steals the will of God from them. God may speak to them about doing a certain thing, and it may not always seem to be the most sensible course of action. This presents an opportunity for the devil to cause them to question and to become double-minded. For example, sometimes I sense that God wants me to bless people by giving to them, often an item of jewelry or clothing. On occasion, God wants me to give away a new and fairly expensive dress that I've never worn. It doesn't make sense when I go through the natural reasoning process, but when I open myself up to the Spirit, I have the assurance that it is the right thing to do. God's Spirit is always available to free you from natural reasoning that leaves you confused. Ask of the one who gives wisdom liberally, and he will free you of being indecisive and double-minded. The closing prayer reads, Dear Father, in the past, I've been double-minded and confused, giving Satan an advantage over me. Please forgive me. I ask you now in faith to give me the necessary wisdom to overcome all of Satan's confusion. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Okay, guys. That was day 45 devotional reading. Hey, Nichelle. Hey, Angela, Johnny, Tina, Kenneth, Sophia. Welcome, welcome. Timothy, hostess. Manaz is back. Hey, Duffy. Welcome, everybody. If you're just tuning in, we are on day 45, a devotional time for mindset of this is our 100-day journey. And we just completed reading our day 45 devotional. And so that means that it is time for our discussion. Okay. Now, if you want to follow along in the reading with us, then you can download your free copy of the book, Battlefield of the Mind Devotional by Joyce Meyer at mindsetmastersuite.com. You can also submit a prayer request at mindsetmastersuite.com. You can click the join live button to join me live right now at mindsetmastersuite.com. And please contribute your answers to our favorite list. Favorite scripture, favorite inspirational personal development book, and our favorite inspirational song, because I'm going to take everyone's answers over the past 100 days. Well, when we get to 100, and I'm going to put it in a file, and then I'm going to email it out to everyone as an additional tool that we can use to continue in our walk with Christ. Okay. Lastly, if Devotional Time for Mindset has impacted you in any way, please go to mindsetmastersuite.com and click on the Leave a Testimony button and let me know how it has impacted your life. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. So guys, let's get into this discussion. Share the live stream out, put your comments, your insights, your ahas, and definitely put your questions into the comment section, okay? Duffy, where are you tuning in from, my dear? Hey, Chris. Oh, no, I think that's right. Kismagal. There we go. Not Chris. Kismagal. Duffy is tuning in from Ohio. Welcome. I have some friends in Ohio. Jill is back with us. She says, hey there. Okay, guys, discussion time. Today is all about being double-minded. Bonnie says hi over on TikTok. Hey, Reginald. Being double-minded, being confused, having a mind full of doubt and confusion. And yesterday we talked about a wandering mind, and we talked about the different reasons of why we can be indecisive, the effects of being indecisive, and some tips for improving our indecision. And so today feels like a continuation of that. It just goes a little bit deeper into we can't have a confused mind. Sometimes God will tell us to do things that we don't quite understand. And whenever we take time to question him and question, well, why do you want me to do that? What good will that do? We have to remind ourselves that God sees the whole picture. He sees the past, the present, and the future. He is working with all of the puzzle pieces, whereas we are only working with 5 puzzle pieces. Meanwhile, he got 5 trillion puzzle pieces that he's putting together. We only see 5 of them. So we don't understand why we have to do this in our lives. It doesn't make sense to us. But remember, we talked about on previous days that obedience is required. Understanding is optional. We're not always going to understand the things that God tells us to do. But we have to be disciplined enough to do them anyway. Even if we don't understand, even if it makes us confused, even if it's something that will make us uncomfortable. Okay, Kelly? We have to remember that God has the perfect plan, much, much, much better than our plan. So whenever he gives us these instructions, this is where the enemy likes to come in and say, I see what he told you to do there. And I see you a little bit confused about why God told you to do that. This is how I picture the devil being sneaky and sly talking to you, okay? Hey, New Level. Hey, Dee Dee. And so the devil says, I see what he said there. And I see that you're a little bit unsure of why he told you to do that. And, that's a really good question. Why would he tell you to do something as absurd and crazy as that? That don't even benefit you. It don't make no sense. You're right. I'm on your side. You should question God about that decision. It don't make no sense. Mm-mm-mm. If he really loves you, why would he tell you to get uncomfortable? Why would he tell you to give up your good job, your good paying job with the 401k, and you get a regular paycheck in your direct deposit like clockwork to go do this thing, and you don't know how you're going to pay for it, pay your bills? Why would he want you to resign from that job? Y'all getting the point now? Y'all seeing the picture? New Level says, hey, where you tuned in from, New Level? Over here on Facebook, Tabitha says, I needed this, just had an issue, but it worked out. Not speaking up always gets me in trouble. Look, God's timing is always on time. How many of you have ever had a conversation with the devil like that? And listen, maybe you didn't know that y'all was talking, okay? Maybe you didn't know you was talking with the enemy, but God told you to do something and you questioned it every which way. You question the left side, you question the right side, you question moving forward, you questioning the backhand, you questioning the administrative stuff, you questioning all of the ways of why you need to do that. But God, I don't really want to do that. God, that doesn't fit with what I plan to do. God, I don't even like that person. So why would you send me to help them? God, that person don't even like me. So why would I go and help them? God, listen, I know you said about starting this business, but I don't really want to do that because I like to go on vacations and I like to buy luxury bags and all of that stuff costs money. And if I start this business, how am I going to pay my bills? You couldn't possibly be telling me to do that. Y'all ever been there? Or maybe it was a relationship. God, I know you are not telling me that that is my boo thing right there. I'm not attracted to him. I'm not attracted to her. We don't have anything in common. So why are you telling me to ask them on a date? Mm-mm. Or, yes, God, I know you said to leave this relationship, but that don't make any sense. We got 4 kids together. I'm going to say that again. We got 4 kids together. And even though we're always arguing and we always in some mess and always in some drama and somebody is always stepping out on somebody, I know you couldn't possibly be telling me to leave my boo thing because, I'm loyal and eventually they going to change their ways because they see how much I hold them down and I love them. Hey, Sarah. Ooh, New Levels tuned in from Jamaica. That's the Jamaican flag, right? Please don't judge me. That's right. I don't know all my flags, guys. I actually was thinking about that the other month, and I was like, I really need to do better trying to figure out whose flag goes with who. Hey, just CJ. Hey, Sarah. Y'all ever had any of those conversations? That is the enemy making you doubt the things that God told you to do or the things God told you not to do. And now you're questioning God, you're questioning yourself. Sometimes we do make a decision and we say, okay, we're going to do this. And then we question the decision that we made. That is nobody but the enemy because a confused mind says no. We learned that yesterday. Whenever you're confused, you just don't do anything. You default to nothing. A confused mind says no. And if you're confused, that means you're not taking action. And if you're not taking action, that means you're not working in the kingdom. You're not working in your purpose. You're not doing the things that you need to be doing. Hey, LaDonna. Hey, Blackie. Okay? That's where the enemy wants us to be. So let's talk about what can happen sometimes. The enemy wants to keep us stuck. So we have to make a choice. And sometimes we don't want to make a choice out of fear. And that's where we allow all those questions of doubt and confusion to come in. But let me share a few things with you. Faith and fear cannot habitate in the same place. It's either you're going to be faithful or you're going to be fearful. Which one are you going to let drive your car, Danielle? Faith and fear cannot habitate in the same place. I want to share just a few little things that I know about fear with you guys, okay? Fear, think of it as an acronym that stands for false evidence appearing real. And I have the perfect example to just let all of these hit home with you guys. The very first time my husband and I ever went to Mexico years and years ago, the number one thing that I wanted to do was go scuba diving. And I wanted to see all the fish in the sea with the little scuba mask and all of that good stuff. Now, when we get to Mexico, I am super excited because, you know, those of you that have traveled to different places, you see all the tourist people and they're trying to get you to sign up for tours. And we're talking to one and I see scuba diving. I'm like, oh, scuba diving. I want to do that. And my husband was busy signing up for some other stuff. So he didn't really care that I picked scuba diving because he got to pick ATVs and some other stuff. And so it was time for scuba diving day, and I'm super excited. Now, mind you, at the time, my husband could not swim, not lickety split. Okay. And I could swim, but I stick to swimming in pools with controlled waters. I don't mess with Mother Nature. I will get in the ocean, but I'm not swimming way out there where the ocean can take me off further into the ocean. Okay. So, as we're getting ready, it's time for the scuba diving day, and we're walking up to the area where we're going to put on all our gear. They're going to give us some instructions at the beginning, and I can just hear my husband just pouting like, "Ugh, what you got me doing, man?" Because remind you, he can't swim, and so he is scared to death that he is going to drown out in this ocean. So we're putting on our stuff, all of our gear. And mind you, the instructor is amazing, very helpful, answering all the questions. Her and her crew, they do this every day, all day. Okay, they are scuba experts. And now it's time for us to walk out to the shore. And I can just hear him. What you got me doing, man? I ain't trying to go out here. And just, I can feel his anxiety just building up and building up and building up. He's thinking of all the ways that he is going to die in this ocean. Okay, so we get out there and his anxiety and his pouting and complaining is just rising and rising. So the first thing that about fear is it makes false evidence appearing real. Because in his mind, he has made 50 million ways of how he's going to die. False evidence appearing real. Meanwhile, we have an amazing team of people all around us. There's boats out in the distance with life-saving things. We have on these heavy-duty life jackets. Like, even if you knew how to swim, everyone was still required to put one on. Okay, Michelle? And these were like big, heavy duty things. Like, I don't know what the Coast Guard wears, but I picture it looks something like this. It even had a piece that went in between our legs and down and around our waist. So like heavy duty life jackets. So he's ignoring the life jackets. He's ignoring the staff. He's ignoring the safety rafters and all those things out in the distance. And he's picturing all these different ways that he is going to drown in this ocean. So fear equals false evidence appearing real. We make up all these crazy scenarios, and most of the time, they're never going to happen. That's a tactic of the enemy to keep us confused about the things that we are doing. So we get out in the ocean And, we're the slowest ones, by the way. The whole rest of the group was way far in the distance, and me trying to be the good wife that I am, okay? I'm trying to stay back and help my husband and, show him support. Like, just hold my hand. It's okay. It'll be all right. And he's fussing at me. Like, no, what you got me out here doing? Man, I'm not trying to go out here. Meanwhile, he's still in the water. And so eventually I'm like, well, forget you. You wasted my scuba time. Okay. Now, that's a whole nother lesson right there. A little side note. How many of us have pushed away the very ones that are trying to help us? Sometimes intentionally, sometimes unintentionally. Anybody ever done that? Raise your hand in the comments. Or maybe you've witnessed somebody else doing it. You're trying to help them out and they're pushing you away. Because that's what was happening with my husband. So back to the story, because now then we're going to get into the next point about fear. Julie says yes over on TikTok. Glad I'm not the only one, Julie Bean. Thanks. So now we're out here. And remember, we're the last ones in the pack, okay? And we've been out in the water for a while now. And, I'm just looking at the water and Fran has her hand up. Thank you for being honest. So now I'm looking out at the water and I'm like, ooh, look at the water way over there. But then I turn around and I see more water. So I turn again and I see more water. And I turn one last time to check all my bases and I see more water. Y'all, I cannot picture the shore anywhere. I don't see it. That's how far out I was into the ocean. Now, remember, I told y'all I'm a swimmer, but I swim in controlled waters of pools. In the ocean, I stay close to the shore. I don't go past where it's going to go over my shoulders, okay? That's whenever I start heading back towards the sand. And so I started panicking because I didn't realize how far I had swam out into the ocean. Because remember, everyone was way ahead of us. We were the slowest ones behind. And I start to panic. And what I want y'all to know in this moment is that, remember, I was excited at the beginning of the trip, the tour. I had made the decision to go scuba diving. I was excited to go scuba diving. I was happy to go scuba diving. Outside of my grumpy husband, I was, having fun in the scuba diving experience until I allowed the fear to set in, the confusion to set in, because I was confused on how in the heck I was that far out into the ocean. And I started to panic. So the second thing I know to be true about fear is that it makes us forget everything and run. You got it? Fear, an acronym. Forget everything and run. Because in that moment, I was forgetting all of the tools that I had to succeed around me. I was forgetting that I had on this heavy duty life jacket. I was forgetting that there was an amazing team of staff members that do this constantly every single day to help. I was forgetting that there were boats in the distance with life boats and life rings and big buoy things on the side. And guess what, y'all? If anyone was to drown, unlikely, the water was so crystal clear, you would see them falling to the bottom. I was forgetting the opportunity that was in front of me that unfortunately a lot of people will never get to experience in their lifetime. So fear makes you forget everything and run. The enemy will put in that confusion and will put in that doubt, and that thing that you were once excited about has now become your fear, your anxious area, something that you are now worried about. And so because I am self-aware and because I practice all the things that we talk about here on Devotional Time for Mindset, I was able to catch myself. And I took a couple deep breaths and then I started talking to myself. I said, Lindsay, it is okay. You are safe. You have this opportunity in front of you. You have all the tools around you to succeed. And I'm going to pause right there, because one thing I didn't mention is that I allowed my husband's fear to rub off on me. So sometimes we have to be mindful of the company we keep, or mindful of who we're sharing, of what we're sharing with who. Because their fear can rub off on you if we're not careful. Because remember, we learned on previous days that the enemy will send other people to help grow the seeds that he planted. And in this case, he planted a seed of fear in my head, but I wasn't growing it. But my husband's was growing. And over time, my husband's fear overflowed into me. And then it started to grow a little bit. But I caught it, Miss Nitra. I caught it, Bonnie. And I took those deep breaths, and I said, it's going to be all right. I have all the tools I need to succeed. Enjoy this opportunity that many people will never get to experience. So be blessed and grateful that you can. And just as I took that last deep breath, calming myself down, I felt something barely brush across the bottom of my foot, y'all. And I looked down just in time, Yolanda, to see a giant sea turtle swim underneath me. Y'all, a giant sea turtle. I felt like Finding Nemo, y'all. It was huge. If you know me in real life, then you know I'm a very tall woman. I could sit on it cross-legged and still have room to spare. That's how big it was. And turtles, they might be slow on land, but they are fast little swimmers. And I almost missed it because I was allowing my fear to take over. I was allowing the confusion and the doubt of where I was to take over. So sometimes in life, when the enemy allows the doubt and confusion to breed thoughts of fear and all of those things in our head, we miss opportunities of a lifetime. And sometimes they don't come back. Because when I tell you, I tried so hard to catch that turtle so I could get a good picture, but it swam so fast. I was never kicked my legs harder. I barely got a picture. So sometimes that fear causes us to miss opportunities for happiness, opportunities for joy, opportunities for wealth, opportunities for next level elevation. Maybe in our careers, maybe in our finances, maybe in our relationships. Hey, Olawaki Yasimi, good to see you here. Let me know where you're tuned in from. Okay? So when we're operating in fear, it makes false evidence appearing real. We make up all these stories that are never going to come happen and forget everything and run. All logic goes out the window and we start to behave and operate through our emotions. And we learned on previous days that ain't where you want to be, because you can't create logical solutions from emotional places. And when our behaviors are driven by emotion, we often make a lot of mistakes. But that's what fear does. It makes you forget all logic. It makes you forget all the tools and resources. It makes you forget that God is with you. It makes you forget that you can trust God and that He will provide a way out. Hey, Miami Snob, good to see you back again. Okay, so one more thing I know to be true about fear as we are continuing this discussion on a confused mind, because remember, when we allow confusion to stop us from acting, it is usually driven by fear. Y'all still with me? Hey, Shanice. Hey, Davian. So the last thing I know to be true about fear comes from the last part of this scuba diving story, guys. So we've been out here a good 2 hours now. And the team, they say, okay, guys, it's time to go back towards the shore. You don't have to get out of the water, but you just got to go closer to shore. She is Abuja, Nigeria. Did I say that correctly? Welcome, welcome. We've had a couple family members tune in from Nigeria. So welcome to the family. And Katasha says, yes, with you. Okay, I'm glad y'all are still here. So the team says, we don't have to get out, but we just got to be closer to shore. So, I'm excited because I saw the giant sea turtle. I saw some very beautiful fish. And, I'm just really happy about all the things that I got to experience and the different sea life. And the water was just gorgeous, guys. And it was a great day. The water was perfect temperature. The sun was shining. And so I'm closer to the shore and I'm just enjoying the moment, basking in the sun, floating in my life jacket. And then I'm like, oh, where's my husband? I done forgot all about him. Oops, my bad. And so I start looking around for my husband, and then I see him a little bit over yonder down in the distance. And y'all, please tell me why he was still having a temper tantrum. He was still throwing a fit. Mind you, we've been out here at least 2 hours already. Either get with the program or get out. So I start laughing because, I'm just perplexed. How are you still tripping about being in this water? So then I noticed something. I start looking at him, and then I'm looking back at myself, and then I'm looking over to the shore, and then I'm looking back at him, and I'm like, wait a minute. So I hollered out to my husband. I said, Ty, stand up. Y'all, please tell me why he was like this. Oh, and then he stood up when I say I about drowned myself from laughing so hard. Y'all, where he was, because we were at the same distance from the shore, he could have stood up a long time ago. So sometimes we put our own selves in situations and we can get ourselves out. We already know God will provide a way of escape, but sometimes we're complaining to God, like, why you still got me in this water, Lord? I'm out here drowning, and all we have to do is stand up. Period. Because remember, God will not do for you what you can do for you. In other words, he is not going to come down there and say, Melissa, now you're sitting down and all you have to do to get out of this mess is stand up. So let me help you, grab you by your waist and stand you up. No, God don't got time for that. He's expecting you to stand up and he's expecting you to take a step and then take another step. And then he's going to sprinkle some blessings and some miracles and some tools and some resources and some support or whatever you need in that moment. And then he's expecting you to take more steps. We are responsible for the natural and he is responsible for the super. My husband could have stood up a long time ago because he was in that spot for a while. So the last thing I know to be true about fear is that it stands for face everything and rise, Renee. Face everything and rise. Stand up. Take action by standing up. That's all you have to do. This is the magical part of fear because get this, fear never goes away. Fear is a natural instinct that we have in our bodies. It serves its purpose in specific times and specific situations to help keep us alive. But we are not supposed to operate in fear 24/7. Dee Dee says, face everything and rise. Yes, you got it. That's not what we're supposed to do. And so this is where the magic comes in. We have to take the fear that we're feeling and turn it into fuel to propel us forward. How do we do that? We stand up, we rise, we take action. I'm going to say that again. We have to take the fear that we're feeling and turn it into fuel to propel us forward, not hold us back. Jilly Bean says, good lesson tonight, Lindsay. Good lesson tonight. Thank you. Because I didn't know what we was going to talk about, truth be told. An hour before devotional time for mindset was supposed to start. I said, Lord, I guess we're just going to freestyle it today. I literally only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes on my notepad. And I didn't even get those down until 11:40. Dee says, fear into fuel. Face everything and rise. That's where the magic happens. Okay? We have to control the fear, not allow the fear to control us. So when we are making a decision and we don't know what to do, and the enemy comes in making us question ourselves, question our decisions, question the outcomes, question, God, why would you be telling me to do this or to not do this? God, why are you sending me here? God, why am I in this season? And we end up not taking action because we're confused. We're doubting. We're not trusting that God will work it out for our good. We have to let it go. We have to face everything and rise. Katasha says, I like that. Turn your fear into fuel. Okay. So if you are ever wondering about a decision, here's something to think about. God is not a God of confusion. And it says that right in the word. God is not a God of confusion. 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 33. Say, for God is not a God of confusion, but of peace. That's what it says. Exactly. For God is not a God of confusion, but of peace. Hey, Leslie. Hey, God is protection 7. We learned that on previous days, that God gives us peace. So if we are confused about something, that's not God. That's how you know it's the enemy working on you. Hey, Trina. The enemy is trying to hold you hostage. The enemy is trying to keep you stuck in confusion. Hey, Dunspat. Because it says right here in 1 Corinthians, God is not a God of confusion. Some of you are in relationships right now and you confused. I think they like me. I think they love me. But if they always doing this. Sometimes they make me feel great. Sometimes they make me feel horrible. I'm confused about the status of our relationship. Are we together? Are we not together? Look, I'm sorry, sister. I'm sorry, brother. But the answer is no. Let it go. Let it go, because God is not a God of confusion. If you got to do all that questioning and thinking and wondering about your boo thing, that's not supposed to be your boo thing. Hey, Austin, good to see you back again. Maybe it's about a business. Maybe it's about your career. Maybe some financial situations, some spiritual situations. Okay, just remember, take a screenshot of the screen for those of you that have the graphics on the screen. For everybody else, I'll say it one more time. 1 Corinthians 14:33. For God is not a God of confusion, but of peace. The next time you find yourself confused, just repeat that verse back to yourself. Say it out loud and say, okay, why am I confused about this? Because the answers are probably right around you. The answers that you need is just a matter of paying attention to them, looking in the right direction, or asking the questions that maybe you don't want to know the answer to because it's not the answer that you prefer. And so you're ignoring those questions. Okay, Anissa? So our day 45 intentional insight and act is to catch all of your confusion and chaos. And you might be saying, well, what do you mean, Lindsay? I'm glad you asked, Wanda. I want you in the next 24 hours to catch all of your confusion and chaos. And so grab a pen and paper and sit down and then write all of the things that you are confused about in this current season. No matter what area of life it is in, if there is anything that you have been wondering about, which we talked about yesterday, if there's anything that you have been confused about, whether it's a decision you have to make, whether it's regarding a relationship, a career choice, it does not matter. Write down literally everything that you've been confused about in this season. Write down everything that has been bringing a lot of chaos in your life in this season. Because we know chaos can cause confusion because it's too much going on. So make a list, set a timer for 10 or 15 minutes. Feel free to go over it. If you're still writing when the buzzer goes off, just keep writing until you're done. But be careful not to get up before the timer goes off. Okay, so we'll make it 10 minutes. Set a timer for 10 minutes and just write. Anything that you're confused about, anything that is chaotic in your life, write it all down. And then you're going to give it to God. You're going to say, God, you see this list that I just made. Help me to bring order to this list. Help me to discern what I need to get rid of completely and eliminate from my life. Help me to discern what I have control over to make changes in my life. Make sense, family? Hey, Raya. That's what I got for you today. All right. So catch all of your confusion and chaos, and make sure you do this in the next 24 hours because we'll be back tomorrow for day 46 and we'll have something else to do, and I don't want you to get behind. Okay? The enemy is going to try to make you procrastinate and try to make you keep putting it off because he wants you to be confused, remember? So whenever you go throughout your day and you think about our intentional insight and act for the day, and you're like, oh no, I can't do that right now. Catch yourself and say, no, enemy, I see you. I see you trying to block me from getting order in my life, getting order amongst this confusion and chaos. Okay? Call it out. That takes away some of the power and it empowers us. All right? So, Katasha says, what was the Corinthians verse again? 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 33. Hey, Paula. Hey, Holly. Hey, Vanita. 1 Corinthians 14, 33. All right, guys. So, you're welcome. That's what we got. If you're just tuning in, you missed it. So make sure you go to mindsetmastersuite.com and click on one of the links where you can watch the replay. I would click on YouTube if I was you. All right. And mindsetmastersuite.com. That's where you can find all things devotional time for mindset. We are here same time, same place every single day through mid-April, holidays and weekends included. Okay, so midnight Eastern time. So if you are overseas, like our sister Alawaki Yesimi. Did I say your name correctly? I hope so. If you are overseas, like our good sis here, then make sure that you convert your time zone, okay? Midnight Eastern time. Yes. Woohoo! Yeah, I like to honor everyone's names. Okay. So midnight Eastern time, same place, every single day. Tomorrow we start day 46 of our 100-day journey of getting our minds right and protecting them from the enemy and understanding the different ways he attacks our minds so that we can be prepared, okay, to keep it protected and live a life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness like God truly desires for each and every one of us. You can download your free copy of the book, Battlefield of the Mind Devotional by Joyce Meyer at mindsetmastersuite.com. This is the book that this devotional is guided by. You can submit a prayer request at mindsetmastersuite.com. Contribute your answers to our favored list at mindsetmastersuite.com. If devotional time for mindset has impacted your life in any way, please submit a testimony at mindsetmastersuite.com. Okay, Sam? All right, guys. I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye. Hey, what happened? 12:10. What?